Welcome into the Sheep Shed, a podcast of Good Shepherd Community Church. Here in the Sheep Shed, we're all about learning together to live like Christ while reaching out in His name. I'm your host, Z Farouj, and for those of you who've been following us, all 10 of you, you may have seen sometimes I'm hosting by myself. For a season, we had the pleasure of having Trevor Windsor as co-host, and in this season, God has provided a new co-host for the Sheep Shed in the form of Connor Strauss. This is Connor. Glad to have you here. And just when I first hired Connor, it seemed like everybody already knew him, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know him over these last couple months, and I just wanted for you guys in the body. Wanted to give you guys the pleasure of knowing who Connor is. He's a great dude who I didn't strong arm him into co-hosting, but it's definitely not something he was wanting to do.
We call that term spiritual manipulation.
Yeah, that's what. No, he listened to the prompting of God. Hopefully, there was a lot of promptings from me, but I'm very grateful for his willingness to serve our body in this capacity. Truly. So I'm just going to dive right in and get to know you with some of just those important questions, like where are you from?
I've been in Oregon most of my life. I was born in Barton. Okay. Have you heard of Barton?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, off by the river.
Yeah.
It lived like a mile walking distance from the river. Wow. So that's where I grew up. Mom and dad and one older brother. Okay. I didn't move anywhere. I was in that one house until I was 18, and then since I turned 18, I've moved like countless times. But yeah. I was in that one house for 18 years, and then something switched, and I've just been moving nonstop. But I always, like, other than 1 year in Nashville with my wife, been around this area for most of my life. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So where have you been involved in church that whole time too? Like, did you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was basically born into Good Shepherd. My parents were going here. I think they started going here It was either right when I was born or like when I was like 2 or something like that. So I've been going here for as long as I was conscious.
Yeah.
And minus some short seasons here and there. Like when we were in Nashville, obviously I wasn't attending. And then there was a year period where I was up in college, up in Kirkland, Washington.
Yeah. So
I was kind of church hopping for a little bit. But outside of those windows, I've been at Good Shepherd my whole life, basically.
And we are glad to have you back home.
Yeah.
That whole time, though, so would you say that, so you were born into Good Shepherd, you were born a believer, or like when did your parents' faith transition into Connor's faith?
Yeah, the classic making my faith my own.
Yeah. Seriously, it's a real thing.
Yeah, no, totally.
I've realized, I didn't grow up in the church, but I've come to realize as an adult who's come to faith that's a real thing. I know just from our interactions, I know it's real with you, right. But I'm just wondering do you know when that happened?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, like growing up in the church, like I'm sure like a lot of our listeners can relate to, like it's like gray for a while.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to make the jump from, okay, I'm doing this because I'm a kid and I'm told to, and this is what you do.
Yeah.
Making that jump to, this is what I believe and this is what I want to do. I know you didn't grow up in the church like you said, so I know for you it might be more like this day I realized that I believed in God, you know, but for me it was like over a season.
Okay.
And there's a few peaks within that transitionary season that like I can remember. The first one being Dunes my freshman year.
Really?
It was like crazy for me. Like I had encounters with God earlier in life, and like I had been going to church my whole life, and there were, you know, up to that moment there were times where I felt like closeness with God, and I had already accepted into my heart, you know, but it wasn't my own, like we were saying. So Dunes happened, and the Lifehouse skit, the classic, you know, everyone starts bawling at the end when they see that.
Yeah. It still gets me.
It's such a beautiful, you know, just picture of Christ and his love for us.
Yeah.
And so I got baptized then. We had like the student ministries post Dunes baptism like a month later or whatever.
That's when you got baptized. That's cool.
Yeah. So I was freshman year. So I was 15, I think.
Wow.
And that was like the biggest, that was like the start of the transition period, I would say. And then kind of fell away from Christ like a year or two later. And again, it wasn't like a one thing happened and I didn't believe in God anymore. It was just I got caught up in life, you know, in high school, and started with depression, and started with my purity, and these big things just pulled me away from Christ. And when I was, a kid, 15, 16, they seemed more attractive than God did at the time. And then everything, it was kind of wishy-washy for a couple of years, and then for most of high school. And then senior year happened and kind of hit rock bottom, family, I won't get into all the details, but family kind of blew up, and some crazy stuff happened in like my personal life with some people that I knew. And I was just at this point of like, there's kind of only one thing left for me right now. Like I was still attending Good Shepherd, but like nobody really knew me. My family didn't know me, my friends didn't really know me, and my church didn't know me. God knew me, but I didn't really know him yet.
Wow.
But
that's a deep insight for a young man.
That's a short.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, there was this moment where I was just walking. I was still living at my family's house in Barton, and I walked down to the river. And it wasn't in the summer; it was like freezing cold. But I just needed to walk. I just felt like the prompting to spend time with God, and walked down to the river, and I was just like dealing with all the stuff that just happened, and everything kind of happened within like a month or a few weeks too. So it was just like one thing after
thy
another.
Waves of affliction,
right? So I was just spending an hour or two with God in silence, and that moment was probably the biggest, like, saying in this transitionary period, there's a few spikes where I like noticed God and really can think back to, and that was probably the biggest one, where it's like, I don't have anything worth living for in my life other than Christ. Like, I love my family, I love my friends, I love my church, but all these things pale in comparison to what Christ is and what he offers me, and the life that he can give me, and the love that I can receive from him. And so that was probably the biggest. If I had to narrow it down to one day, it was probably that day.
Wow. Tell me, you mentioned living in Nashville with your wife. Tell me about your wife, Erica, how you guys met. Like, how did that end up coming about?
So we met in 2021 or 2022. I forget exactly when we met. I was working at a BlackRock, and I was in management. So every day I'd have to go to the bank to do cash deposits, and she was my teller at the bank. And it was in the middle of COVID, so like we're all wearing masks and stuff. So I didn't even know what she looked like until our first date. Like I could see like her eye, like masked. So she was like, "Here up." So she looked pretty, but I wasn't 100% sure. It was a bit of a gamble, and we later joked about it, like we were both taking a gamble there. Like.
That's funny.
But yeah, eventually, over a few months of me going, a few weeks or months of me going in, she actually asked me out.
Wow. Okay. That's bold.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's cool.
I'm so like not. If you know me, I'm not a super like outgoing person. Like in conversation, I can feel outgoing, but like with strangers and people that I don't know, I'm not the guy to go like randomly make friends.
It sounds like God picked the right girl for you then.
She's definitely, if you know Erica, she's super outgoing, and she loves people. So that's how we met.
You said you guys spent time in Nashville, and I remember, this isn't, again, I'm going way off script, so sorry, Connor. But there was an insight that you had shared with me about, because you had moved to Nashville. You have your brother is over there, and your reason for moving back. Do you remember what you said to me about what, like, the motivation for moving back?
There was a few. Can you remind me what you're alluding to specifically?
Just the because you guys wanted to be a new place, experience something new, and that was a motivation to get out there. But once you guys were out there, there was, you had your brother, but you didn't feel as connected, and there was some kind of there was at one point you guys felt the need to get back to where your family and friends, that core is at, and that it was more, you said it so much better than I'm about to say it, but it was more about who you're around than where you're at.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's such to realize that at that young of an age, there's people who don't realize that in their 60s and 70s that still think it's about where I live and not who I'm surrounding myself with. So I just respected that big time.
Yeah.
I saw that as a high maturity piece.
Yeah. It was humbling.
Yeah.
You know, like going into this new season of life. We got married in October and then we moved in January.
Whoa, okay.
So it was quick.
I didn't even know it was that soon after being married. That's a lot of new.
A lot. It was too much new. I think that was a bit of a culture shock for us. Like, here we are, you know, we're single in the terms of like not married, you know, we're engaged, but single and living obviously apart and in a place where we've lived our whole lives.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a few months, now we're married and we have a dog.
Yeah.
And we're moving across the country. You know, and all these were things that we wanted, and you know, independently they were really good things. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. But pile them all, you know, on two young kids, and it's a lot at once. So there was a bit of a culture shock there. Yeah. And it was humbling in the sense that we thought we knew what we were doing. And then we're there and we're like, oh, this is way harder than we thought it was going to be.
Wow.
And God really like used that to teach us like a firm and utter reliance on Him, not on like ourselves or our own, you know, lean not on your own understanding.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For sure.
Just to give you, to talk about your connection to Good Shepherd, you said you were attending here and everything. How did you end up on staff here? Because now we're in the month of July right now. You just came on full time, working with me in the communications department, helping me with everything communications, whether it's video or audios or website graphics, everything we do here. What were you doing leading up to what do you do now? And this is the actual true honest question. How do we even get connected?
I think it was Trevor, no?
I
think it was
Trevor.
because he was starting a new role at a new church, so he wasn't able to host this anymore.
Yeah.
And I was working at Pure Desire full time at the time. And Pure Desire is moving to Nashville, so I wasn't going to be there forever. Yeah. Ironically, Nashville. So you got
trading places.
Yeah. So I was looking for something, and the timing kind of worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So tell me about what would you say is your skill set that you bring to the communications department? I mean, I know it, but can you share with the rest of all other 10 people listening?
Right. Content creation, generally speaking, I'd say. I don't think I have like one specific niche within that.
Yeah.
I was a professional photographer for a few years. Yep. Then moved into the video world, and then specifically the video editing world. Yeah. And I've been doing that, like video editing for podcasts and YouTube channels for a few years now.
Yeah.
And so within that, you know, being a freelancer and hopping around to different niches within, you know, the same industry, you just pick up a lot of random skills. So I'm not like an expert, I would say, at any individually one of them, but I have, you know, a handful of ones that I have at least a healthy understanding of.
Yeah. So. A humble guy, because he is very good at what he does. I was shocked to find out you've only been cutting video for a few years. Like you have the skill set of someone. I mean, you've definitely put in your time. You've
put in the reps.
Yeah, you got your 10,000 hours probably.
Probably. Yeah.
It's getting to know you, like your working style. It's definitely, this was a God ordained relationship in the sense that there's definitely things that I'm lacking. No one's got it all figured out or has arrived, but I see in you, especially as we continue to work together, that a lot of your skills complement my deficits, and I mean, my only hope is that hopefully you have some deficits that I can help speak into, so that this relationship can be reciprocal.
I've only been here for like a month. Just
Just
you wait.
So speaking of that, why ministry? You talked about YouTube and stuff. Mm-hmm. There's money in YouTube. Right. You can just go onto YouTube and just why. There is when deciding, you don't get into ministry to get rich. It's part of my get rich slow scheme. I joke about to people about it. You don't get into ministry for the money. At least you shouldn't be. And for the most part,
And if you do, you're probably doing something
exactly.
wrong.
I've heard of you. Your name is Joel Osteen. Sorry, Joel, but not. So what drew you to ministry?
Yeah. I think we're all called to ministry to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, we're not all called to work at a church
Yeah.
specifically, but we all have opportunity and
That's true.
You know, capacity for ministry.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think just with my, you know, in this season in 2025, with the opportunity that was here and with my like skill set from my career, I think it just lined up. You know, I don't know if I'm going to work at a church for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Hey, but you signed that contract.
Just kidding. But you know, I'm here now, and like it's clearly where God wanted me right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not gonna say that I audibly heard the voice of God say, "Go work at Good Shepherd," but
Yeah.
I had peace about it, and it really felt like that was where God was pointing me.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm called to ministry right now. One thing I think I heard Pastor Greg say one time is that a calling is not like it's not typically not a lifelong calling.
Yeah.
Typically, God calls you somewhere to accomplish something,
Yep.
and then He'll call you somewhere else to accomplish something different.
Yeah.
So this is where I am right now. I have no idea how long I'll be here.
Yeah.
But until God calls me somewhere else, you know, this is where it is.
So what gets you fired up about church life?
I think seeing people, like young people specifically, maybe that's because I'm young, so I have a relation to that. But people more broadly too, just fighting for health in their life.
Yeah.
Whether it be physical health,
Yep.
or spiritual health, sexual health,
Yeah.
whatever it is, not letting, you know, the tide of life just sweep them towards unhealth.
Yeah.
Because there's a current, you know, like a river. It's really strong, just in the world today. And if you're not actively, I say you, if we as people, as believers, are not actively, you know, sprinting towards God, like with all of our might, and there's seasons of that, of course, like where it requires more effort, and you know, some seasons require less. But if we're not consistently moving towards God, like we're gonna get pulled back.
Yeah.
And you know, I've had seasons of that, of course, in my own life where I drift. You know, and I get pulled away. You know, life, like I said earlier, life seems more attractive than God does in a moment. And if when I see people like just pursuing health, like in every area of their life, I just love it. It makes me so on fire. It's like when I see that in the church too, like at Good Shepherd, like we're doing something right.
Yeah.
If we're whether we're facilitating it or not, you know, the fact that there's so many people here who are healthy and trying to get healthier and just pursuing God, like I just love that.
That's that amen to that. That is, I mean, that's a big motivation and a passion. You had mentioned when we were talking in your office the other day,
My cave.
Yeah, in the cave. His office is in the basement. There's no windows. He eventually will get windows, I promise. Maybe not in that office. You'll move offices.
It's like a probationary period.
It
like
is.
Whenever somebody starts, they get 6 months, no windows.
I did about 6 months in that office. My first 6 months. Yeah, it was my original office. That's why I called it the Cave of Wonders, because it's the only office in that building without any windows. But you were talking about some things that you're passionate about, and like a core motivation being justice. Where do you what is that? Where does that come from? And how do you see it work out in your life?
Yeah. I think I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, if anybody's familiar with that. So like it's called the perfectionist, but like a core motivator is fighting for justice, and that can look like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And the world today also likes to call things justice that aren't justice.
Amen.
But
what does it look like when it's healthy? What does it look like when it's unhealthy?
Right. I think when justice is unhealthy, I think it looks like equal outcome, not equal opportunity. You know, when whether it's church or government or people or whatever it is, like changing the rules or whatever so that everyone's on a level playing field. Yeah. I mean that's not justice. Yeah. That's not equality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Healthy justice looks like, you know, what better example than Christ on the cross?
Yeah.
You know,
we
we didn't deserve it. Mm-hmm. It's almost doesn't feel like justice because, you know, what did we do to deserve that? But because of Christ's love for us, that's the gold standard. That's the North Star of what justice is Christ. So if we can reflect even an ounce of that in our day-to-day life. Like, I think that's so cool to fight for, you know?
It is so true. And it's that, I think this even came up, we were talking, because I've been researching the atonement, and justice is like, I heard a pastor put it, God's justice and his mercy were made very clear and manifest. They peaked on the cross. Like, that's justice for sin, because sin has to be dealt with. It can't just be ignored. And mercy in the fact that we don't have to actually take that wrath if we glob on to Jesus Christ. If we are covered by his blood. It's mind-blowing to think about. Anyway, just for some fun, let's get like for rapid fire round, deep dive into maybe some superficial, shallow topics, but still fun to get to know you.
Sure.
You said 1 on the Enneagram. I'm a 9 on the Enneagram. Who, for anyone who cares, Connor is so strong spiritually that I don't want any emails about the Enneagram being a bad. I know. We see it for the tool that it is to describe, to help, to point out core motivations, really, and that's how I've got from you too.
It's a tool. It's not gospel.
Exactly.
Not
yeah. That's so true. And thank you for clarifying that. Okay, quick rapid fire round: coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay.
Probably too much.
Good choice. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what is it?
It'd probably be sushi.
Yeah.
There's a few like favorites, like I love steak and I love pizza and I love sushi. Those are probably my top 3. But there's so much like variance with sushi that if it was like the only food I could eat for the rest of my life, I feel like I could get enough different.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good choice, and I love that choice too. Favorite book of the Bible?
Probably Proverbs.
Okay. Nice.
I really like Proverbs. My grandpa growing up was one of my he's kind of like my dad. I was just like one of my closest people in my life. And he did this thing I learned later in life after he passed, but I think my mom was telling me about it, where there's 31 chapters in Proverbs, and he would read a chapter every single day of Proverbs. He did it for decades. And if he missed a day, okay, well, today's the 15th, I'm reading Proverbs 15. Yeah. And God has a way of, the word being alive, God has a way of like speaking into specific moments with specific passages. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened where I go to, I'm not consistent with it and I miss days all the time, but it's a good, goal to work towards.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many times I've opened up, on the 24th and I've opened up, Proverbs 24 or whatever, and it's just exactly what I needed.
Wow. Yeah. And it's no wonder too, your grandfather's immersed in the word, reading Proverbs through and through. And it's no coincidence that he had a strong influence over you because of that.
Absolutely.
I mean, his word doesn't return void, and it has reading it in and of itself doesn't just do it. It's just, you could just read it just to check the box, which wouldn't have any life change. But yeah, it sounds like your grandfather let God do what he needed to do in his life. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any favorite non-Bible books or series?
Harry Potter. For
Nice.
sure. Yeah, I love Harry Potter. I got into it later in life. Most people get into it like when it was coming out.
Yeah.
And people in my circles like,
you say later in life. You're still young, but
okay,
yeah.
later in life for, but yeah, that's I love it. It's super fun.
Well, this isn't on here, but is there a favorite book within that series?
Favorite book is probably Goblet of Fire, book 4.
Okay.
Movie is probably, I don't know. There's so many good ones. I don't know if I have a favorite movie.
Okay, well, we won't make. Oh, and then I know for all the Harry Potter fans out there, I would get a lot of emails if I didn't ask you. Is it a house? What house? What house are you in?
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. So
Ravenclaw.
That means something to some people.
We're just gonna keep it a secret.
If you know, you know. Are you an early church guy or later service guy?
I like early. I like the 9.
Yeah.
When we go to the 10:45, it just feels like I wake up around like 7 most days anyway, so I'm kind of up.
Yeah.
So it just feels like I'd rather just go early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're up. You've been up for a couple hours already.
Might as well go to church.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite worship song right now?
Well, I was gonna say "Hard Fought Hallelujah" by Brandon Lake. Have you heard that?
Yeah. Oh, that's
really
a great
good.
song.
I was gonna say that, but then 30 minutes ago we just heard Josh Putnam, his new song. He's the worship leader at Good Shepherd. For those who don't know him, but he's there. I mean, you can speak more to this because you were part of it, like systematic sonology, where you guys are going through and and like writing songs, but like from a purely like theological perspective.
Yeah.
And the song he just showed us, it doesn't even have a name yet. It's brand new, but it was so good.
I know. I felt, it was like, what a treat that we both got to just sit in on that. Josh has taken a team of songwriters and non-songwriters, making them songwriters, and going through the structure of looking at doctrine and learning about it, and then immediately turning around and writing a song that speaks to that truth from the Bible. And that was awesome. That was such a cool treat. Unexpected, but one of those side benefits of working at a church.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a most underrated theological topic?
Friendship with Jesus.
Yeah.
It's such I feel like we often look to God as like our Lord over our life and our true Father, and all these things, the shepherd to us being the sheep, and those are true 100%. But I feel like my uncle actually wrote a book. I'm forgetting the name of it, but he developed like this stair step model with our relationship with God.
Yeah,
and each step grows in intimacy and closeness with the Lord. So at the bottom, it's like clay and potter.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Wait.
Yeah, the potter.
The potter, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Harry Potter, no. And it scales all the way up, and at the top is friend and friend.
Wow.
And it's such a beautiful model of like the more time that we spend with Christ, the closer that we get.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing, viewing God as a friend rather than even more so than a father. And yes, he is all these things on those steps, and of course, and there are seasons where we might be a little turd, and he needs to mold the clay back, and it might be painful, but to work up towards like being a friend with God, like John 15 talks about. I forget the quote exactly, the scripture exactly, but for those who obey my law, I consider you to be friends.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's so crazy. Even I struggle with that concept of, because I'm like, well, he's talking with his disciples. He just came off of just saying, hey, you know what? You guys know what's going on. I've informed you of everything because you guys are friends. And even just that act, I'm like, okay, well, that's specific to them. But I could see, I need to accept the fact that that it's possible for me to be friends with Jesus too. Because someone said the other day, what made me even consider that was, someone asked the other day, if Jesus was here right now, how would you have him serve you? And I go, what are you talking about?
Feels backwards.
Yeah, no, I serve him.
Yeah,
exactly. But there's, and then immediately I felt convicted, because I'm just like, oh my goodness, I sound like Peter right now. Like, no, you can't wash my feet. Are you kidding me? Like, what? You wash my feet? No. So that, not at all. And I don't see a friendship with Jesus as me being completely equal with him and the same. It's an invitation to a real relationship, like a true relationship. And like you said, it's just a deeper connection that I still struggle with even now. Well, Connor, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and have people to get to know you. Yeah. You're going to get to know Connor a lot more, him being co-host of this series. We are actually, these two people in the room, and Connor's the guy who's recording this right now, and he's sitting in front of the cameras, and he's going to be editing this too. And I can always step in too if need be. I'm going to put that on camera right now. I still edit, and I still edit here and there. But yeah, thank you for being, not only just hopping on board here at Good Shepherd, and then selfishly on the communications team, helping us out, but then also just being willing to be a co-host, because I definitely can't and don't want to do this alone, and value your opinion and insight as well. So we'll be hearing a lot more from Connor as time progresses. But if this conversation was helpful or encouraging in any way, please share it with somebody. Also, if you want to help expand the reach of the Sheep Shed, subscribe, rate, and review our show. It helps a lot. If you have any questions or topic suggestions for us, email us. Email your questions or topic suggestions to sheepshed@goodshepherdcc.org. And with that, we'll see you here next week in the Sheep Shed.